I don't think I ever told you guys this story.
I was similarly awkward with regards to girls, so I knit this girl a hat.
I remember that.
Welcome to the Scent and Bent podcast number 45. We've got a great episode coming right at you. We're going to talk about the trike behind us today and a bunch of other pretty interesting stuff I've written down on this little piece of cardboard. And don't forget, we are giving away a 1-ton Ram, a Electro & Co. dirt bike, and $20,000 cash on grindhardplumbingco.com. Every $1 spent gets you an entry to win.
And we just put some sweet new fuel wheels and Falcon Wild Peak RT tires on it, so it looks more spiffy.
Oh, yeah. It looks
way better.
Yeah, really good. If you haven't seen it yet, check out our Instagram and you'll see it, or in the new video on Friday that's on this trike behind me. Not sure when this podcast is coming out, but I've got Wheelie Boy news. That's in the actual news, not just like my own little personalized feed.
Wheelie Boy news.
There is real Wheelie Boy news.
Like local Wheelie Boy news? Or is this?
No, it's in California.
Oh, okay.
But you know, California normally sets a precedent and then other states like do the same thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Or violently do the opposite.
Yeah, one or the other. But basically, like, obviously, every city in America right now, Suron gangs are like everywhere, like doing ride outs, doing wheelies. Like,
dude,
it's huge.
They were doing it in Coeur d'Alene the other day. I was like, what? Like, they're doing it right past cops and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like the coolest thing ever. And it's still in this weird legal gray area where it's like there's electric bicycles and Surons look just like them, but they don't have pedals and they have way more power. But how do you prove that they have more power as a police officer? It's like the Goldilocks zone right now. You can get away with like a bunch of stuff. And it's good because, you know, it's good to practice like a little reckless driving as a kid and like breaking the rules a little bit.
It's good to do that.
Yeah.
Let's clarify. Okay.
Yeah, like that's what skateboarding was for me. Like, you know, you do some trespassing, you do some running away from security and cops, and
in
that's
low
like
risk, you know, relatively low risk situations.
Exactly.
We're not saying go drive your car at 100 miles an hour down the freeway or, you know.
You're just doing wheelies with your friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the same thing that skateboarding was for me growing up. And it's like, we're Americans. We're supposed to not like take the law as literal. It's like, what's that quote in Pirates? Really more just like guidelines.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, that's like, you know, like Henry David Thoreau. Like, you guys have probably read Civil Disobedience, right?
No, I've heard
Okay.
I know the gist
I know
of
what
it.
it is.
You know the gist of it. It's basically like, if there's a law that you don't agree with, just go ahead and don't listen to that law. If your government's doing something you really don't agree with, go ahead and not pay your taxes.
So on today's episode of Set and Bent, Edwin tells you to disobey the law and don't pay your taxes. This is not legal advice.
Yeah,
man.
Exactly. So, like, I don't know. I'm really attracted to those type of cultures, and I always
you do
have
always
been.
talk about wanting to get arrested for something stupid, which is a very bizarre desire that's also really easy to fulfill if you really wanted to.
Yeah, but you can't like do it on purpose, you know. It has to be doing something that you're passionate about, and then you happen to get
Like
caught.
trying to climb a bank in the middle of the night.
I was about to
For
bring
no
that
reason.
up. The time that I had to stop Edwin from climbing a bank. I'm like, no, that's a bank. You're like, really?
Yeah, the roof was so easy to climb.
Yeah, it would have been easy to climb, but it was a bank by the freeway.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do remember that. We also climbed a tree that night.
Yeah, the tree was a lot safer of an option.
We started by climbing onto the roof of our hotel because they basically built a ladder to it.
Yeah.
And then I went to bed.
Yeah, and Steven and I kept going.
We roamed the streets that night.
Yeah. Yep. That was a good
Anyway,
night.
I feel like you were getting to a point here and we sidetracked
yeah.
you.
Sorry, Edwin.
So, Surons are in this gray area.
Yes.
And any kind of like electric dirt bike that you're doing these big ride outs with, they're in this gray area. And you also can't like legally title them to go on the off-road trails in California because they actually like check there. Like here, I don't know what the tags on your bike are, but most of my bikes don't even have them.
Yeah, I have snowmobile tags on them for the trails in the winter and just in case, but
Yeah.
I have never had anyone check it.
Yeah. Surons, they're, I guess, intended for that, but you can't even do that with them in California, apparently. So they proposed this bill, this law. It hasn't been signed yet, but it basically gets rid of the gray area and it classifies them as an off-road motorcycle.
Right.
And so then you could press charges more easily against any electric bike without pedals on the actual street, basically.
Which, I mean, makes sense. It sucks for the Suron boys, but it's logical.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know.
But what's the argument, though? It is an off-road motorcycle. Like, that's just a fact. I can see how you wouldn't want that to happen, but there's no argument for it not being the case.
Yeah, it's just like if it's something that's like taken up in like a lot of other states, which it probably will, it kind of like really dampens this really cool part of like young culture right now.
People are going to look back and be like, oh, the glory days of electronic bikes. They will.
They will.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be because I think because this would basically make it just as illegal as like doing the same thing on your like 450. But like, I think that's kind of how they get away with it is way less people care because it's not loud and annoying.
Right. Mm-hmm. But it's functionally identical. So, I mean, aside from the noise.
Yeah, but
so
like,
it's like
besides, like speeding around and running away from cops with your friends, and you're off your phone, getting a teenager off their phone.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, no, that's good.
You're off your phone. You're with real people outside.
Causing mayhem, potentially accidents, running over pedestrians, And, in the process of running from the cops are also chasing you, which is, it's not all good is what I'm saying.
They had the world's biggest Suron ride out in Austin, Texas just recently.
Yeah.
And there's this viral clip going around where this person was definitely probably like under the influence. And if you're under the influence of anything, don't get on any machine.
Right.
Not about that, especially on a public road. But anyways, like the police officers are obviously just going for this one person in this clip that I saw. I don't think there's a big news story for us to know why they were targeting this one person, but she's on a Suron and they jump and just full on tackle her off the bike onto the ground and arrest her. And I'm like, I don't know what she did, but it's different than what the 10,000 other people doing the same thing were doing because they were targeting this person.
Right.
But it was crazy because they ran like really fast. Like you're on a motorcycle and they caught up to her, jumped and got her clean off the bike.
Maybe her battery was dead. She couldn't go any faster.
Yeah, that is something that you see like if you watch the e-bike ride out videos versus if you're on four-wheelers and gas bikes, those chases go on way longer.
Yeah.
Because they go into a gas station, fill up real quick, and they even have like water bottles full of gas in their backpacks, and they'll just drop it in the tank. And then you see, I saw this one, like it's helicopter footage. This guy's hitting his premix on his two-stroke, shaking up a bottle with some oil. And I was like, yes.
That's amazing.
I was like, get out of there, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. I saw that and I was kind of sad because I knew it wasn't going to last forever, but it's like, I think it's happening sooner than I would have hoped.
Right.
You've already gotten in trouble on e-bikes in our little town.
Yeah, and I wasn't even doing wheelies or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't, I mean, our town doesn't really mess around. It's pretty strict. Like you get away with so much more stuff in other places, I feel. But then there's certain things that they also don't care at all about here either. So
yeah, it's like you can have a Stance Boy Dodge with your wheels sticking out an entire wheel width from the side of your truck, which isn't legal in any state. And no one cares at all.
Yeah, I was stuck behind one of them coming up today, and I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't hit a rock. I was on my bike. I'm like, no.
And most officers in town, because I talked to other officers about my ticket and like what it meant, because it was this really weird. It was basically I was driving a toy on the street, and I'm like, and I have to ask the officer that gave me a ticket. I was like, what about a kid on a scooter? And he literally told me, I give tickets to kids on scooters all the time.
Yeah, this officer shouldn't have his job anymore. We got to start a petition.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
And I even talked to like an officer that I'm friends with in town, and he was like, was it this guy? And I was like, yeah, it was him. And he's like, he's the only one in town that would have actually written you a ticket for that. He's like, I would have pulled you over if you were doing like, going 60 in a 25 or, something. Like he's like, if you were being an idiot, I'd pull you over. But if you're just on the side of the road going slow, like he's the only officer that actually write you a ticket.
Did you end up having to pay that too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
No, I looked it up and then I even put it into ChatGPT and I was like, well, technically, what if it's under a certain wattage? But this code that they got me on is like the code they get anybody on for this kind of thing. And it's like you just pay the ticket.
Yeah, it's not like a felony or anything. It's just
what is the code though? Because like, could you then in theory still get in trouble on like Heelys, for example?
Yeah,
really.
One wheels, pedal assisted bicycles, anything that's not like a regular bike or that's it, walking.
Huh.
It's basically the do whatever you want if someone's doing something you don't want on your roads law.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
and it was a law that existed before like electric scooters and pedal assisted bikes.
Right.
So it's completely outdated. And the officer, the cool one that I talked to, he even said, if you want, he's like, this is something that you should call like the governor about or whatever. And
Right,
so
your local representative or whatever. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to do that, and I'm going to make like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to make like a whole, because obviously like I joke around about like completely reckless driving and kids getting hurt and stuff. Like I think it's cool, but also like part of the reason it's cool is because it's frowned upon.
Right.
Like, if skateboarders, like when I was growing up, if they were like, oh yeah, skate our loading dock, skate our handrail, it wouldn't have been as much fun.
Right. The point is you're doing something that's like very low key illegal.
Yeah,
like,
but the punishment should suit the crime.
Yeah, totally.
Like now with these being actually having a classification, like if you're just doing a wheelie on the street and like impound your bike and destroy it or something, which is happening places, that seems like the punishment is way overbalanced for the crime.
Yeah, it should be a ticket, not like it's just like, reckless driving ticket or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, totally just like impound your bike and crush it. That's a
like
bit
these
extreme.
kids wash dishes all summer to pay for half their own bike, and they're just going to take it and crush it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I remember like even in parkour days being treated like I was vandalizing stuff. And I'm like, no, it's different. And they're like, and then they would be confused, like, oh, you don't have any spray paint or a hammer or bolt clippers or anything. And I'm like, no, I'm not vandalizing stuff. I'm trying to do flips off your building. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot like the parkour community and even partially the skate community is like, sometimes you actually fix stuff, like you reinforce handrails to make them stronger so you can use them.
I've removed hazards off roofs. I'm like, this is going to fall on somebody. Like, like I'm doing you a favor.
Yeah. Like sometimes obviously you knock something over or something or knock a loose brick and you try to do your best. Like maybe you damage property occasionally, but anyways.
That's not the intention.
Along those lines though, I didn't skateboard I hung out with you guys when you did parkour, but my thing was unicycling and then later on slacklining. And talk about the dumbest law ever. When I was in college in Coeur d'Alene at NIC, I set up a slackline all over the place, all over campus and all over the park along the water there and stuff. And I just set it up between a couple of trees, and it never hurt anything, never damaged the trees, like nothing. Like you could damage a tree if you set it up poorly, but only if it was a very small tree. And then I went back like a year later or something. I was down there for 4th of July or I don't know, something. And I set it up again and somebody came and was like, that's illegal now. You're not allowed to set up a slackline in any public property in the entirety of Kootenai County, or maybe it was just the city of Coeur d'Alene. I don't remember. But like, and I was like, but why? And they're like, oh, it damages the trees. I was like, no, it doesn't. Well, they're like, well, they just decided that trees are not to be used for that purpose. There's no reason.
I remember
literally no reason.
I remember people trying to fight that, and they're like, no, like, and then one of the slackline companies literally came out with a kit that was no different than like a bath towel with a strap on it to put around trees, and then they're like, no, you still can't even use that. Like,
yeah, it wasn't about damaging the trees because it didn't. No one hurt the trees. No. People just wanted to tell you couldn't do it because I don't know. That one's really silly too because it's like it's not even one of those sports that you're doing because it's illegal. Like you're just out there trying to balance on a rope you're not even making noise. It's like the most peaceful. Anyway.
Yeah, that's actually how I met
really
Ethan, though.
Oh, yeah, true.
It was really hard to miss Ethan because he'd be riding a unicycle around with a fedora on, and I was always like, who is this guy? He seems pretty cool. And then I introduced myself because I wanted to utilize your slackline. I was kind of new into the sport, and I was like, oh, I got to become friends with this guy.
Yep. Yeah. I used to just walk into the student union building between classes or after classes or whatever, and walk into the spot where everybody hung out and just be like, hey, I'm going slacklining. Anybody want to go? That's how Steven and I met. Steven was like, yep. I'll go.
Yeah, I was kind of weird, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll hang out with this guy.
Oh man,
there you go.
I went to NIC for a couple days.
Yeah, we heard about that. Yeah.
Wait, you attended for a few days?
Yeah. So
and then he decided to go snowboarding instead.
So my graduating class had there was 21 people and 18 of us graduated, and there was 5 scholarships for each school in the district for NIC, and I was one of the 5 that applied. Even though I almost flunked out of school, I still got the scholarship.
Why would you apply?
Well, because so it was for $5,000 and the tuition was only $4,000, so I'd basically get $1,000.
Okay,
that's why. And
of course, that's why you did it.
Yeah, and so I bought my season pass for Schweitzer with that, and then I snowboarded instead of went to school.
Wow, I didn't know this story.
But yeah, I saw, Ethan slacklining. I didn't know him,
Yep.
but I saw him there, and it was only later when I was doing parkour with you that I met Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, my few first days of school, I don't think I ever told you guys this story. I was so awkward because I'd never had a real girlfriend or been on a real date. And there was this girl that looked so much like Natalie Portman. I don't know if that rings any bells for you guys.
As a person at NIC?
Yeah.
No.
So I just made her cookies. I never talked to her before. And I just showed up with the bag. I was like, hey, I made you some cookies.
You didn't share them with the rest of the class? You just gave her cookies?
I saw her in the I don't know, it's the lunch area.
Man, that's got to be so weird for that girl.
I
She
know.
literally has never seen, probably never even looked at your face, and you bring her cookies.
Yeah.
I was about that weird too, though, because I lived in the dorms for the first year, and I was similarly awkward with regards to girls. So there was many awkward things, but I knit this girl a hat.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was I used to just hang out in the lobby and just sit by the fire or whatever. I mean, sometimes I'd do homework, sometimes I'd be playing games or whatever with friends, but then sometimes I didn't have anything else to do, so I'd just sit there and knit. And I actually knit hats for I think 3 different girls.
Ethan made me a hat too.
Yeah, I knit a lot of hats back then, but anyway, that was my idea. But I tried extra hard on this one hat because I thought this girl was super attractive, and she literally never wore it once. But I didn't just unsolicited make that. I wasn't just I'm making you a hat. She talked to me very briefly and was like, oh, that's awesome, I'd love a hat. And then I made her one, and she never, ever wore it. I was like, you liar.
Oh, well, that's still a little less awkward than what I did.
It is a little bit, but still,
Because I just showed up with this bag of cookies. I was like, I made you these cookies. And she was like, oh, I was like, I'm Edwin. And then she didn't even tell me her name. And I was like, oh, can I sit with you? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. And that was it.
That's
that was one of the
good.
5 or 6 days I showed up to school.
Nice.
Yep. So
I used to not attend my math classes. I would choose teachers based on whether they graded on attendance or not. And one of my teachers did catch on to me, and she's like, oh, I think we're going to start doing an attendance sheet. So she'd pass it around at the beginning of class. So I'd show up, sign the attendance sheet, check my watch, and be like, well, I have to be somewhere, and then I'd just leave. So then she caught on to that too. So she started passing around the attendance sheet at the end of the class. So then I started sitting in the hallway for 50 minutes. I'd show up for the last 10 minutes.
Wait, but what's the point of sitting in the hallway?
Well, then I could just be on my phone or like read a book or do something I actually wanted.
Be on your phone, dude. We didn't have smartphones back then.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I didn't,
What are you talking about? What
Well,
are you doing on your phone? Just like,
I was probably just reading something more interesting than the math. Like I already knew all the classes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean,
So I had perfect attendance, but I only showed up for like 15 minutes a day.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I never did any of that. I showed up to all my classes.
Ethan was a good student.
Well, you guys actually got a degree, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like a half degree.
What does that mean?
An associate's degree. It doesn't really mean, it is a degree, but it just doesn't mean anything.
Ethan
to
and I
anyone.
are college graduates, baby. Shee.
It's just a 2-year degree, so it's like pretty
Yeah.
much it's just functionally useless unless you're going on to more college. Like, I mean, if it's a 2-year degree in something like welding, then it's useful. But then that's not also that's generally not an associate's degree. That's a welding certificate or something.
Yeah.
So like, the point is you're not going to get hired at a job because you have because you have an associate's degree. It's just like, it's like a step. You go to a local college, you get your 2-year degree, and then you go to a bigger college and you get the full bachelor's.
Was that your
master's,
guys'
whatever.
plan?
Maybe.
I never had a plan to go back, but I told my family I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I could get out of jail free card.
Yeah. Well,
That's
and also
another reason
for
why-
me, it looked better than just having a GED.
Right.
So
I mean, yeah.
Oh, because you guys didn't.
We didn't go to
officially-
high school.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
That makes sense.
Ethan and I have a lot in common.
yes.
Yeah, you actually
I
really
mean,
do.
there's reasons we've
Yeah.
been friends for like 12 years or
Yeah.
whatever.
You're even wearing the same grind hard flannel.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
But we're not. Look, mine
Oh.
was the prototype one with the long tag vertically.
Oh, I got the new edition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we all good? We're at least not wearing the same. The other day we were wearing the same flannel and the same color pants.
Yeah, Ethan's
And
wife came in.
Similar boots.
Yeah.
I was like, this is too much.
She's like, "Oh, you guys are matching. That's adorable." It's like, "Oh."
Yeah, sometimes when we do get our new merch lines, we do look like a boy band because we're all, like,
Yep.
trying to wear the new stuff. And then it's like pretty hilarious, especially when we're out and about. Like, where were we over the winter where we all showed up to like a public place, all wearing the same hoodie?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was the Humvee one with the lines on it. But
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We might have
Yeah.
just been out to dinner or something.
yeah, where are we at with the Humvee? People have been asking.
I need to send a message about that. Last I heard, our shocks were being shipped. Because that was the holdup, is we're just trying to. Basically, all the shock companies that we've worked with over the years wouldn't give us a set of shocks for a Tundra to put on a Humvee. And the reason I went with that option is just because I had a set and they worked great for the front, so I wanted more for the rear. But all the shock companies were like, no, because they didn't want us to like promote putting something on an unintended application. Which I should have just been like, okay, send me a shock without the top hat that has the exact same specs and just call it a universal shock. Anyway, so we were going through Nick at Rockstar Garage to get some shocks from Icon. And last I heard from him, there was some holdup because, again, one of the engineers was like, that's not the intended purpose of those shocks. But he talked them into getting us some. And last I heard from him, they were being shipped. So I just need to check on that. Maybe they're, delayed or something.
That was
but-
just like last week, wasn't it? Or
it was a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
but
okay.
anyway, we're just waiting on shocks, basically, so that we can do the rear suspension. And then it'll be kind of just wrap up a few little things. And it'll be like done for now. I mean, we might
And we
go.
have real doors now.
We do have real doors.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
put those on, and
Do the windows even roll down?
they slide down. They're just a little slider thing. You just grab a little pin and just slide the window
Our
down.
next Humvee trip is going to be so much more comfortable.
Oh yeah.
And more reliable.
We
Right,
slapped a
Ethan?
supercharger on a random LS from a Corvette with 100,000 miles on
A
it.
Corvette that Edwin and I touched.
It could be reliable, but
Yeah.
I might also blow it up. So yeah, anyway, that's where we're at with that. It needs a new front CV, and I need to figure out why it keeps breaking them, because it's one specific CV and it's not under extreme load. Like it shouldn't be breaking them. I think it's a geometry issue where the either we got a bad CV that was too short. That's possible. I haven't looked into that yet, but it looks, just looking at it, like it's not long enough and it just pulled out. But why the first one broke, I don't know, but it took a lot longer to break. That, or it's just under flex and steering, it might be just binding up and breaking itself. So I need to dig into that and see why, so I can eliminate that from, because it's not just breaking from sheer torque. It's breaking from some interference. But that's a minor thing. I can just throw the other one in and, figure out what situation it doesn't work in and then avoid that situation for now, because we do have a spare from the parts Humvee. But yeah, I was just looking at that this morning. Every day I walk into the shop and I look at it and I'm like, I need to swap that axle out so I can drive this thing around. And then I don't, because there's 20 million other things to do. But I really want to get it registered so I can, because it's Humvee season now. You could drive it to town and not hate yourself, and drive it up to the property, and it's we got to get it going so I can daily it this summer.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting up there and finishing the trail.
Yes.
And if you guys haven't seen the video, Ethan got how many acres?
10
acres. That's the top of this mountain, but the rest of the mountain is public or like
it's all national forest. So
it's the only private spot on this whole mountain.
Yeah.
And so we just call it Ethan's Mountain.
Yep.
And last year we built a trail, and it got dark because we had to film this ad, so we couldn't finish the trail.
Yep.
And
always running out of time.
We're just about to get to the part of the trail that's going to go to a rock garden, and it's going to be like a off-roading little private paradise.
Pretty much, yeah. So the property is extremely steep. So, there's the road access, which I had to also build a part of a road. The road went up to the top edge of the property, but it didn't go onto it. So that's why I got the excavator and started building the road there. But it's like such an insanely steep property that there's also an access at the bottom that was all overgrown. So that's the trail we were building. And that trail, basically we're just clearing out an old road, but there's sections of it that are like, road is a loose term. It's a skid trail from logging from like 60 years ago or something. So anyway, yeah, there's all sorts of fun stuff in the middle of that where the whole property is just a giant mountain of granite. So like there's rocks everywhere. We can build little side things and hill climbs, and
we got to test the mini Jeep.
Exactly. It's the perfect proving grounds for the mini Jeep.
Oh yeah. I'm really excited to drive that thing.
Yeah. It's going to be, I drove it with like everything wrong the other day for like 2 seconds, and it was already super fun. So it's going to be.
How much snow is there? I'm just ready to like go up there, build the road, camp out.
I don't know. There's probably, the snow's probably pretty much gone up there by now. There might be some in the shade, but
I imagine you could drive up there at this point, though.
Oh yeah, you could definitely drive up there, but
I can see the neighboring mountain from my backyard, and all I see is snow.
Yeah. Well, that mountain's a lot taller though, so
yeah.
and my mountain it's closer to the lake and river, so it gets a little more of that, and it's more southern exposure. So
yeah, you get a lot of sun.
It gets a lot of sun, and the whole hill is mostly rocks. So like once a few of those are exposed, they heat the place up pretty quick. And
all I know is like, I don't know how many weeks ago it was, but I was gonna hit you up and see if you wanted to go ride dirt bikes up there, and then I saw in the local community forum that a Jeep was like off the side of the road and like 4 feet of snow. And I was like, oh, it's not dirt bike season yet.
Not up there. It's not. Yeah. We really need to get up there and take the dirt bikes this year too, because there's a bunch of trails that are bordering that property on the national forest and stuff that are like hard enduro trails, like technical single track, super cool stuff. So we got to get up there.
I'm going to get a real bike this spring for sure.
For sure. I've heard this story before.
But I keep going back and forth between just getting like a trail riding 2-stroke or a Stark, because the Starks are so cool, but I also don't want to be range limited. And I also just really like the sound of dirt bikes and shifting.
Just get a 2-stroke.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer. The Starks are cool, but also for tight technical trails, they're 20 pounds heavier than a 450.
Yeah.
That's a lot on a trail. You don't feel it riding it, but picking it up and like moving it over around logs and stuff.
Yeah.
Also just like, I don't know, you've had so many electric bikes over the years. It's time for a 2-stroke. or a 4-stroke would be mine, but
especially because of the amount of passion you talk about 2-strokes with. You need to
Also, Edwin, think about this. There might come a time in the not too distant future when you just can't even buy a brand new 2-stroke anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows? Yeah. I haven't heard of anything specific, but
yeah.
On that front, not really actually, but related, I was telling you guys that Arctic Cat shut down production. I just read this morning that that Argo bought Arctic Cat, and the CEO of Argo is going to be running Arctic Cat production. So
Really?
they're reopening production.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they're basically just like, we're going to keep it open forever, was essentially there.
Cool.
So that's cool. Yeah, that's super
funny
cool.
because you'd think which brand is bigger. You'd think Argo's this tiny little sideshow, but apparently they've been really doing it.
I guess I really don't know. I mean, maybe they have a bunch of other products that we don't really even know about.
Because I just know about like the Sherps and the like 6-wheel drive swamp
the
crawlers.
the swamp crawler. I mean, that's what they're known for. I assume they probably make other things as well, but also maybe it was just like who knows how much Textron, because that's the company that used to own Arctic Cat. They bought them like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe they were just like, fire sale, get rid of this. I don't know. Anyway, but it wasn't just Argo. There was also a group of investors. So like Argo is like fronting it, or like they're the business buying it.
Yeah.
And the CEO is going to run both businesses, the CEO of Argo, who actually worked at Arctic Cat for like 17 years or something. But anyway, the point is they also got a bunch of private investors so it's not like 100% Argo just buying Arctic Cat with their own money. Okay. Anyway, read an article about that this morning. Thought it was interesting.
That
and
is
the folks would want to know.
Heck yeah. No, that's great. I mean, that's I told the Suron story and you got that. I mean, that's what this show's all about.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I'm getting very much more serious about making another purchase as well.
Oh, the Changli fire truck?
Well, that one isn't looking great. The tariff situation is really making that fire truck more than it's maybe worth, because it's already
not worth anything really.
But no, what? So I've been talking about buying a Japanese sports car since before we started grinding even.
Wait, have you found one that you're like?
So one just came on Cars and Bids, an FD RX-7 rotary, and so this one looks so good. It's on Cars and Bids. It has 18,000 miles. It's red.
Whoa.
It's so nice. And I'm actually going to so we made an account to sell our Ranger.
Yep.
But when you buy something, you need to prove that you have the funds and stuff.
Right.
So I'm actually going to go through that process this weekend and put a bid on it.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I don't know. I mean,
it's probably going to go for a lot more than you want to spend.
Yeah, it's only 18,000 miles. I'm probably realistically it's going to go out of my budget, but I'm at least going to bid on it and familiarize myself with the process, because they only come up one every other month.
Right.
And so, and on Facebook, it's just.
Did you see
sporadic.
Did you see Russell is selling his?
Yeah.
I saw that on Marketplace. His beat to crap LS swapped FD.
Yeah, I mean, if that thing had a title, shoot.
Right?
It's not a bad deal.
No, he's not asking all that much. It's just it's a track car, but it'd be a lot of fun.
It has a really good cage. I mean, it's got everything you need right there for a party of a drift day, but I really want something I can street.
For sure.
And that I don't think will ever be streeted.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and the amount of money you'd put into it to street it, even if you could, you'd be looking at just buying a real one.
Totally.
Yeah, and what I like about this one so much is, as much as I like the mods and everything, I just kind of want a clean one and just keep it clean. I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm just going to keep it clean and just run with it.
Nice. But until your Apex seals leave the chat.
Yeah. And then I need to bring it all the way to Seattle.
Nice.
To get that taken care of.
The closest place you can do that?
Yeah. And it seems like one of these things where you really need this special balancing thing. I don't really understand how it works, but it's one of these things that I probably couldn't do well just here in the garage.
Right.
You need these kind of specialty measurement tools.
Well, I'm sure there's somebody listening and or watching that knows the guy that could do it for you. But
yeah. Well, actually, the guy that I was gonna text him, I got his number. So when you were gone and Steve and I did the moped trip in the mountains and made that video, the guy we bought the Honda from is a licensed rotary what was his
technician
title?
or whatever.
I don't remember what his title was. I actually forgot about that.
But he said he was actually rebuilding a couple FCs for people.
Oh, nice.
Where was that?
Like Wenatchee or something.
Yeah, so it wasn't nearly as far as Seattle.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, maybe if, maybe I could bring it there, like,
there you go.
every 15,000 miles, and I don't know.
Yep.
I bet you could work out a deal. That guy seemed stoked that we were the ones buying his Honda.
Yeah.
This
and
isn't
maybe less stoked when he saw us destroy it in the video.
Yeah. You didn't treat that thing very nicely.
It does still run. It's in the shipping container.
Yeah.
Dreamboat runs too.
Yeah.
So not super related to that, but when you were talking about, purchases, and I thought you were talking about the Changli fire truck, it reminded me. Steven and I came up with a really entertaining idea the other day that relates to, or is a version of, a 100-mile challenge.
Okay.
And instead of doing it instead of
he doesn't
doing
even know, and he's like, I'm down.
Instead of doing 100 miles in a Changli, we up the stakes and we do a 100-mile challenge on Temu excavators.
Okay.
Like, if there's, we could also get one of those like stand up miniature skid steers and try to do 100 miles on the tiny Temu earth moving equipment.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? Just like, but like maybe we'd also like go out on a trail that just opened up from snowmelt and is covered in trees. So we're also like clearing the trail, cutting the trees down, and
we would have to
clearing the trail with our excavators.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
What kind of engines do those things even have? I
just have
their gas?
Yeah, it's just like a Briggs & Stratton style. Like
okay.
It's just like a lawnmower engine, like a 10-horse lawnmower engine, basically.
We just strap our gear and some gas to it and go.
Yeah.
It
Well, the
probably
thing
take
is-
many days.
It would. Oh, totally.
Top speed.
Well, the thing
Not
is,
fast.
the top speed might only be 3 or 4 miles an hour, but that was your top speed in the Changli, and you don't have to stop to charge every hour.
Well, and yeah, that's the thing is with charging, our average speed for day one, which is when we had all of the batteries charged from the beginning, was 0.6 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's no way that mini excavators are slower than that. Like, I would bet they do like 2 or 3 miles an hour, and they can just do it all day because they're gas. So we
should get them very soon because they're already not listed on Temu anymore from all the tariffs.
Shoot. Yeah.
So,
well, there's probably a ton of them around like locally too that are like already imported.
Yeah. That's the move is getting the stuff, buying the stuff that's already imported before the tariff imported costs. And then hopefully by the time we're done playing with that stuff, the tariffs have some kind of equalization.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I just think it'd be hilarious. Like we could make like a little hammock attachment so you could just pick it up with the excavator boom and hang your hammock and sleep there. Like you could just do so much silly stuff with it. Like,
are we going to do 3?
I mean, I feel like we probably have to because, like,
kinda
otherwise
have
somebody's
to.
riding in a bucket. Like, they don't exactly have passenger seats.
That man can ride in the bucket.
Yeah. Well, it's like if we had like 4-wheeler for like filming and we switched around, but it'd be way funnier if it was the
Just
only
excavators.
other support is the other 2 excavators.
Yeah. So we could do like, I mean, we could just look around and see what's available. The only ones I know of really are the mini skid steer that you stand on and the mini excavator. So
maybe we could get one of those little mini cement rollers.
oh gosh, no, no,
So
it wouldn't go anywhere, dude. They don't go up hills. They're made for packing down flat terrain.
Yeah, but they have those ones that have the knobby wheels.
Yeah, I don't think that's the move. I think the tracked vehicles would just be better. So maybe there's like 2 different classes of excavator we could get or something, or some other I don't know, miniature dump truck. Oh no, they do. They make miniature track dump trucks. It's like basically a wheelbarrow with tracks. So we could, it's like you stand.
I call the wheelbarrow.
You stand behind it, just like you've seen the mini skid steers, right? Where you like the whole skid steer's in front of you and you stand on the back and you have all the controls, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically that, except instead of a bucket, it just has a big trough, a big dump truck thing. So you can just like move around and dump dirt. So we could just have a whole, that's what we do. Yeah.
I'll put a pit bike in my dump bed.
Yeah, exactly. We could do all sorts of stuff.
And then we could build sick jumps at camp and hit them on our pit bike.
Yeah. Exactly.
I like this idea.
All sorts of stuff. I mean, we might want to get them and figure out what our range is before we commit to a specific number. You know, maybe we do 100 miles, maybe we do 50, maybe we do 1,000. I don't know.
I think 100 miles or more.
Yeah.
100 miles is the minimum.
It's the magic number. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your thought a minute ago, or what you told me, where you said you went 0.6 miles an hour average in the Changli.
Yeah.
I really think I could run 100 miles faster than you could.
Oh,
do the 100 mile
significantly.
challenge. Yeah, and I'm literally training because I want to beat this man.
No,
I
you
want
could
to
do
run
most anything faster.
Yeah.
And day 2 would have been so much slower because we would have started with not full batteries. We were doing the math, and we were like, we're going to be out here for so many days until the axle fell off, and we're like, okay, that's kind of get out of jail free card.
I mean, I might get to mile 50 and my axles might fall off too, but like I still think I could beat you.
No, I think you could crawl faster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, being able to, the point that Steven's making is like actually run for 100 miles straight before you get around to doing or completing or are able to complete 100 miles in a Changli. It's not that, yes, obviously, if you just do the math, you could walk faster.
Yeah.
But walking 100 miles at a go,
physically
it's a lot.
doing it, no sleeping.
Yeah.
Like I have to beat, you know.
There's a similar physical challenge to the Changli, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm
You
not
gotta
denying that's
you gotta
not hard.
Sit in there listening to the generator without going crazy all day.
Yeah, and apparently only eat really terrible
That's
mac
a
and
mental
cheese.
challenge,
Yeah.
Edwin. That's a mental challenge, not a physical one.
But something to think about the blue Changli is there's watt-hour storage capacity is significantly higher, and that has the 3 kilowatt motor, where the red Changli only had a 1 kilowatt motor. So we have more power potentially going faster and significantly more amp hours of range, but also with that comes significantly more weight. So I'm not sure where the math pans out. But
I think your day one, you would get a lot more miles done, but as soon as you have to stop to charge, you have to stop to charge for way longer.
I think I calculated that battery setup from complete dead would take 16 hours to charge.
Right. And because of all the extra weight, and you have the capability to burn 3,000 watts continuous with that motor, which you're probably going to be doing pretty much max all the time.
Yeah.
You're going to be burning it. It would be, like the first day would be much faster. And
but it's potentially overall even worse.
it is. Yeah, potentially. Because you're hauling around so much more weight.
Yeah.
That, you have a longer range, but then when you have to
has
recharge.
Front brakes.
That's really going to help you go 100 miles.
Yeah. So going up the obstacles, we could have really used it.
Up?
Yeah.
What do you need front brakes going up for?
Well, for when it doesn't make it and starts to roll back down. There was a moment we didn't capture this well in the 100-mile challenge, but you know that rock that the thumbnail is of the 100-mile challenge? So this rock is like a hop, skitch, and a skidoo on a dirt bike, a little bit of doing on a four-wheeler.
I drove to it in a Subaru years ago, just for reference.
And you drove up it?
Well, not onto it, but I drove to it and next to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the feature itself doesn't look that sketchy, but the only way we could get up on the Changli was on the cliff side, and it really is like far enough down to seriously maybe dead you if you were to
in a Changli. Yeah, definitely. It's a very steep hill. Like the part that you're going up isn't that tall, but then the other side is very tall. So
very tall. Yeah, like you'd be rolling and tumbling for longer than you'd want to.
Almost. Well, any rolling and tumbling is more than you'd want in a Changli.
Yeah. With seats that don't stay attached at all, seat belts that are attached to those seats that don't do anything, and so we were setting up our little what do you call those little mat things? Max tracks?
Max tracks.
Yeah. We're setting those up and trying to get it to go. And the brakes just kept getting softer and softer as we were using them. And so I hopped out to kind of give Will a push. And he went up and came down and the brakes weren't sufficient. So I was holding the car because it's so light. Me helping actually made it not go down that cliff. If I would have been standing further back filming or flying the drone or something,
it might have just trundled all the way down the cliff.
Yeah.
I saw
Nice.
that footage, and yeah, you didn't capture it. Like, it's hard to capture it in a way that
Yeah.
shows it, but I know that spot too. And I was like,
the
that's
rock
sketchy.
seems mellow, but it's what if you don't make it happens. It's like the Moab Rim Trail. Like,
Yeah.
the actual trail for the right off-roader, not too hard. The consequence, if you don't,
Yeah.
very extreme.
Yep.
Which
true.
is crazy that you did it in an unknown Humvee at night.
Yeah. I mean, I also did it in a Barbie Jeep, so like,
Yeah, I guess the Barbie Jeep seems less scary. Like, you could just jump out of it before the cliff, worst case scenario. But the Humvee at night, I think I would have been pretty scared. When I saw that footage, I was editing it, and I was like, I don't know if I would have been in the Humvee for this part of it.
I don't know. It's one of those obstacles that just looks way like, yeah, there is a consequence, but you have to screw up so bad for that to happen. Like,
But it has happened.
sure, but
Cars,
like
and for people who
tens
don't
of thousands of
know
people have.
the Moab Rim Trail, it's like this little curvy thing that goes way up onto this sandstone, and the whole side is like straight down cliff to a highway.
Yeah.
And it has happened where cars have gone off this cliff and died in the highway.
Right. So it's not to say it's impossible. I just mean, like, I've done that obstacle numerous times in various vehicles, and like it just, yeah, there's a cliff there, but again, you have to screw up so bad to go off the cliff. It's not just like oops, I stalled it, or the brakes stopped working. Like, you have to have like a bunch of things go wrong, or just like suddenly hit the throttle for a long period of time and not hit the brakes. I don't know. It's just,
I guess like where the trail has a good amount of room for error before the cliff. It's like, as long as like if your brakes like didn't work, or like you cut a brake line and they were soft, or I don't know.
yeah, like you could probably steer, and it's not just like instant fall off cliff. It's like, and you're not going straight up away from the cliff, really. I mean, you're kind of like diagonaling up this little edge, but like if you just roll back with gravity, it's not toward the cliff directly. Like, yeah, it's possible for you to fall off, but it's just a lot more complicated to make that actually happen, I think. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
anyway.
When I was editing that, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary to watch, but if you're actually there, it's like, it's pretty chill.
Yeah. I think a lot of features like that are like that in
Yeah.
where it's like your traction is so good
Right.
that it's not a concern, but it looks like it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Which is kind of perfect for filming, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Moab's great for filming.
Yeah.
Because,
Like, I'm sure doing the Rubicon is actually like a lot more dangerous than a lot of those trails, but it doesn't really look it.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's more difficult, definitely, than a lot of the trails in Moab. But yeah. Yeah, or like all the trails near Telluride, like Black Bear Pass and Imogene Pass, the one we did with the Bronco,
yeah.
like way more dangerous. People die up there fairly frequently because they just drive off the edge of a giant cliff. But the road you could do in a Subaru, like, it's not a technical road. It's just
high consequences for messing up.
Well,
Exactly.
and that easy of accessibility too brings a whole different type of people. I think.
Right. Yeah, totally. Well, and just more people. There's lower barrier of entry.
Yeah.
But
that's how statistics work.
Yup.
The more people at the party, the more someone's going to mess something up.
Yup. Pretty much.
Cool. That seems like a good place to end it.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the giveaway, guys. We're really excited about this one. It's the coolest thing we've ever given away. We've been getting a lot of emails like, if I win, I'm going to start this business. And I'm like, heck,
That's cool.
yeah, I really hope. So far, it seemed to always go to like a very deserving person. And this one, let's keep that energy up. So yeah, you can enter at grindhardplumbingco.com, and you can listen to the Sent and Bent podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
Nice. We never did talk about the trike.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Next time.
That's okay.
Well, the rear steers now, kind of, and we'll leave it at that. Go watch the new video.
There you go.
All right. Peace.